welcome back. My name is Angela, and we're studying for the big exam. You know, the Board Certified Behavior Analyst exam? Yes, let's get into it because we are on A3. A3 says to describe and explain behavior from the perspective of radical behaviorism. Radical behaviorism, where did that come from? It came from B.F. Skinner. And B.F. Skinner based it on two main ideas. We have Darwinism, selectism, which encompasses ontogeny versus phylogeny. And then you have the second idea, which is pragmatism. And we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about that today. So let's get into it. Darwinism, selectism, ontogeny versus phylogeny. So what is Darwinism selection? Well, it's like the three-term contingency, okay? So you have the antecedent, what happens before, you have the behavior, and then you have the consequence, right? So all forms of life, it's a belief that all forms of life come from a single cell that evolved into complex cultures. And as a result of that, it was selected with respect of the function. So depending on how it worked together, it selected each other, depending on how it complemented each other. Then you have ontogeny. Ontogeny basically says that behaviors are the result of the best outcomes of the selection to survive. So basically, if it could survive, it's going to choose to partner with organisms that cause it to thrive. In a nutshell, it leads to more adaptive repertoire. So it basically adapts to each other. That's ontogeny. It's a selection that's based on consequences as well. So based on how it evolves, it is going to choose to continue to evolve if it leads to the most positive outcomes. All right. Then you have phylogeny. This is a selection based on the evolutionary history of a species. So, phylogeny, natural selection, and evolutionary history of a species. Ontogeny, this is basically learned behavior. So ontogeny is more like learned behavior because it's an operant kind of like conditioning. It's like, hey, I learned that by doing this, it gets me this type of result. I learned that if I do this, I have this consequence. So it's going to select that same pattern or similar patterns based on getting access to the desired outcome. That's ontogeny. Phylogeny says that this is just a selection based on the history of the species. Phylogeny, it evolves just over time and it's just selected based on the environment. All right, so that's the first idea that he based his radical behaviorism on. And then we have the second idea, which is pragmatism. This is a doctrine that really stresses the meaning of that ideas is in the observable, practical consequences. So being able to observe it is practical and it's not based on any theory or dogma. Okay, it's not no absolute answer to solve the whole entire, challenge you're faced with. So there's no one cookie cutter way to really say that this is what it is. So pragmatism just continues to ask questions so that way you can get closer to understanding what it is that you're observing. So the probabilistic AB is because of C kind of philosophy. The environment and the behavior is all because of the consequence. That is the thought process behind pragmatism. And it was based on Charles Peirce and William James, right? So that's radical behaviorism. It does take in consideration private events, whereas methodological behaviorism does not take in consideration private events. And so those are the main difference between the two. So what we're really studying for radical behavior is taking in consideration all aspects of behavior and not just observable measures, but there may be some other things that you cannot see that's also affecting the organism. Right? Have an amazing day.